I want to build a realistic city. Now, I know what you're thinking. I already have some really realistic, detailed looking builds, but I've always felt like something is missing, almost as if Emerald City isn't complete. Now, I might be thinking this because it actually isn't complete, and there's millions of blocks for me left to place in this city. But I really want to add detail to the city outside of the buildings, like what you find in an actual city. So power lines, shops, graffiti, stuff like that dotted around the world that just makes the entire area feel more alive. And also bringing purpose to the buildings, adding things in, making villagers own these buildings and stuff like that. So that is what we are going to do today. So welcome back to Emerald County, which is something that I haven't said since January. And in that break of uploading in Emerald County, I've been watching a lot of Dallas Med 65, and that is where this video is coming from. As you guys know, I take a lot of inspiration from him, and if you do watch him, you know he's got a very realistic sort of dystopian cyberpunk city with lots and lots of details like his slime-sized headquarters and loads of other stuff like that. And I want to try and recreate that sort of feeling that you have when watching his world, and I want to put that into Emerald County. And I know that is very much achieved through his RTX and stuff like that, but I want to try do that. So when I do upgrade all of my setup, once I get monetized on this channel, I can bring in RTX and the entire world will look really, really cool. So that's what we're going to try to do today. Take a lot of inspiration from him, build these very simple, detailed structures, stuff like that around the city, and just see how it looks. And obviously, this is a much more relaxed video compared to what the rest of Emerald County Season 2 is going to be, because I just want to ease you guys back in to Operation Emerald County. So the first build that I want to do involves this wall over here. As some of you guys know, if you watched back when I originally made this part of Emerald County all the way back in August, I said I was going to build some slum housing down here, like what I've already built in the previous video by this skyscraper. The very low density builds are sort of grungy. As you can see, I have started working on another one down this street since the last video. Obviously, you need to finish that off. But I want to build that down there and put graffiti in as well. Now, because this is Emerald City, it is going to be made by EDF. It's going to have EDF as part of the entire thing. And what I'm thinking of doing is just literally just like putting a sign saying EDF on there. But I don't know how I'm going to make it look like real graffiti. So I've got the idea of either using concrete or concrete powder and sort of making it look like spray paint sort of falling down, making it look really, really like how you'd see it in a city, sort of run down and stuff like that. But I've never done anything with graffiti before in Minecraft, so this is going to be very, very experimental, and I have no idea how it is going to turn out. For a first attempt at doing graffiti, I think this looks really, really good. So I decided to go with both blocks, concrete and concrete powder, because it just makes the entire thing look a lot more detailed. And obviously this is never going to be seen by anybody because I am building all this slum housing down here. The graffiti is going to be blocked off like most of the time, but you are going to see these little pockets of graffiti around the city, and it will just make the entire thing feel a lot more alive. And that is what I want the city to be like. I want it to be really, really detailed. So the next thing I'm going to do is build a billboard over here. And it's been facing both directions, towards EDF headquarters and the new buildings over here, the massive skyscrapers and stuff like that. And it's going to be promoting a company that is going to be running through Emerald City. It's not EDF headquarters. I'm not quite sure what it's going to be called yet. I think I'm going to leave that down to you guys to suggest names for the company for me to put into Emerald City. And it's going to be like a restaurant. So it's going to be like a McDonald's sort of thing. So come up with ideas for a fast food restaurant to be put into Emerald City, leave them down below, and I'll see which one's the best and which one I like the most, and that will be put into the billboard. Now, adding this, again, just going to add to the realism of the city. You see these all the time. You're going to see them everywhere, and it's going to be really, really cool. And once again, I've never built a billboard in Minecraft because up until this world, my builds were very, very medieval. So again, this is going to be very experimental, and let's just see how it turns out. That looks so cool. I know it's a really small build, just adding the billboard and the EDF graffiti sign, but that used to be a completely grey wall, and adding this just breaks up the grey. And it also feels like I'm building up the city without building up the city, if that makes any sense. But that's what I'm trying to do with this entire video. So what I'm doing next is actually another sign on this building right here. What I want to do is, when I originally made this building back in August, I was going to make it a sugarcane farm because I go through fireworks like it is a joke. The amount of fireworks I go through when I'm flying between projects is absolutely ridiculous, and I have a really bad sugarcane farm really far away from the city that is really useless because I'm never in render distance for it to work. I'm going to build one inside this building in the city where I always am, and I'm just going to build a sign at the side of this, and it's going to be really, really cool. Now, the gunpowder farm will be in an EDF location because that feels more like an EDF thing, but I'm going to try and build a sign using banners, which is going to be really, really complicated because I have never made a letter on a banner before. I have no idea how to do it, and I'm pretty sure it's quite complicated, and some of them don't look very, very good. So again, it's been very experimental. Hopefully it looks okay. That looks really, really cool, and I'm really glad it does because making letters on banners is so confusing. I had to use a tutorial, and you know, bits of it that I was adding onto the signs that I was thinking it doesn't make sense, but it makes sense once it makes sense, if you know what I mean. It's really complicated to actually explain what it's like. Obviously, the R doesn't look brilliant. I'm going to try to find a better way of doing it, but I think that's the only way you can create an R on a banner. So I'll try to find a better way, and I'm going to move it in one more block because it does look a little bit weird. But the billboard as well looks really good at night. This is my first time seeing it at night. And as you can see, I used end rods around it rather than actually in it to make it look a lot better so you can actually light it up without blocking any of the space to build on. Now, what I'm going to do next is either build another sign on the side of this building facing towards the other two on the other side of the road. But there's also an area behind the alleyway that I've been thinking of putting graffiti on for ages. And I think that's where I want to go next before doing the power lines. Scratch what I just said. I have an entirely different plan for what I'm going to do next. As you can see, I have the slum area down here. But I actually want to cover it up and continue this level of Emerald City and keep this road going a little bit further out, widen it, and then add more buildings on the other side. This is something I've wanted to do for quite a while, and I think this is a good time to actually do it. And then I will put in the power lines afterwards and then build new skyscrapers on the other side. It's going to hopefully look really, really cool, and it also gives me a lot more opportunity to detail this road with like plants and stuff like that. So I'm going to expand this, get started on the power lines, and then I'll see where we end up going. So here is the design that I have gone with for the power lines. I think I might make them a little bit higher, I'm not really sure. But what I'm going to do is carry them along this road and try make it so they line up as much as I can, because this road does bend about quite a lot and it is going to be quite a challenge to make sure everything fits. But it is hopefully going to really make the city feel more complete. I'm going to connect them to other roads and stuff like that. And hopefully it's going to make an entire layer to the city. Now, the design is inspired by DanceMode65 again, same as everything else on my channel. But hopefully it just really makes the entire city even more complete. And I'm going to tie it into the EDF headquarters and use that as the main substation sort of thing. Make a massive sort of building just outside of the headquarters and place it in at a later date, making massive connections for the entire city. And hopefully it's going to look really, really cool. This is exactly what the city needed. It just makes the entire thing feel so much more complete. But it's so expensive. The amount of iron I've already run through is astronomical. Probably 5 beacons worth. But anyway, guys, that is the end for today's video. I know it's a little bit slower than regular videos. I just wanted to get back into the idea of making Let's Play videos. Remember, if you do want to see your idea for the business to be put into the world, then make sure to comment your idea for the business name down below. I'll put it onto the billboard and make many builds off it based around Emerald City. If you guys are excited for Emerald County Season 2, then make sure to like and subscribe. And I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.